Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is Thursday, June 21st, and this is the market overview. Looking at the Dow, SPX, VIX, TNA, UUP, FXE, GLD, SLV, and all the rest. And, anyways. It was a great day in the market. Dow just getting obliterated, and for the reasons that we thought it would, if you read the daily running thread. Beyond that, what do we have to work with? I mean, huge sell-off, almost 2 percentage points on the Dow. Yesterday, the Dow was not quite as good as some of the other charts, but overall, most of the charts still looked decent in the daily. And it didn't look good in the 180. It didn't look good in the 60-minute time frame. It hasn't looked good in the 60 time frame for a few days, and for some reason the daily kept, doggedly trying to look pretty good. Last night with the Dow, we had the hanging man. We had a little bit of green creeping in, but it wasn't as much as I would have thought it would have been. So actually, the signs in the daily time frame were not very good, and we didn't get very much of a forewarning before all this fell apart, except for putting two and two together about what the news would bring us, which was that people should be not happy about what happened with Bernanke, and put forward that in the daily running thread, which is where we try to put two and two together with all the news stuff. But anyways, 250 points today. Very, very nice. Got our down tick. Down tick resolved intraday. Very nice. Getting right to the middle Bollinger Band, and of course getting far below the upper price consensus level for this month. Still have plenty of room to move to the downside if the world is going to want to, and I do believe that it will. We're operating in a vacuum without Ben coming to save the day. So the very first thing that comes along should be what the media latches onto, blows out of proportion, and in which case the down move in China, the other economic problems, they probably should be talked about some. So I'm not overly having a problem with that. We have the stochastics heading down, CCI heading down. The RSI, curiously, is going sideways. Down on the MACD histogram, and down on the MACD itself. And last night we also pointed out that the Dow was the only one that had a slight tick down on the MACD histogram. So this is a continued move off of that. It was a little bit puzzling because it was the only one that had that. But we did note it because it could have meant something. So I hope that as whatever clues could be gleaned from the daily chart were last night. But anyways, I hope that everyone did very well today in the market. That's what I'm trying to get at. 60-minute time frame. Are we overdone? Well, heat map has a little bit of a warning, not drastic. It isn't bright red, but warning area. A little bit of a move up would alleviate that if that's needed at this time. We do not know yet if this is going to be just a waterfall move or if we are going to get a bounce. I do think that there's more to the downside, but this was a heck of a move today. Down on the 14-day RSI moving average, down on the stochastics holding low. By the end of the day, people were stepping in and buying some of this. Up on the CCI, sideways on the RSI holding low, down on the histogram, down on the MACD. This is not a pretty chart in the 60-minute, although we do have a few minor signals that it could be overdone. And I think that it's the overnight that is going to dictate the continued movement down tomorrow, because Asia is not going to be happy with the down move today. Europe is not going to be happy with the down move today. And if there's any kind of hint of further crap news out of Europe overnight, this will continue tomorrow. But if it's quiet, people might take a breath. But yeah, this is a scary move. And the news out, scary news. They should, rule the airwaves at least for a short period of time. That's my take on it. SPX, more of the same, got a downtick today, resolved intraday of course, down more than 30 SPX points. Awesome. We were looking for 1335 back here. We exceeded that very, very nicely. We're not yet at the major price consensus level, only about 5 points away. We did have some warning signs of a topish area, but not as green as I would have liked it to be. Worked a lot of that off today. Down on the stochastics, down on the CCI, sideways on the RSI, up on the 14-day RSI moving average, down on the histogram, down on the MACD. I really like this. If we can get all of the secondary indicators to go to the bottom or close to the bottom, and then flip around and join the 14-day on finishing its move up, that'll be a nice move down, and then we'll have a nice pop up, and then we'll be ready for another movement down in a few weeks. So it's going to be really good action for a couple of weeks. You can make good money off of this. 60-minute time frame. I'm going too far. Yeah, look at that. Just notice you get almost full crossover and separation prior to entering the bar, 60-minute time frame. It then cuts through the bar like butter. Doesn't always do that, but it sure is powerful when it does. Down on the 14-day RSI moving average, up on the CCI, it's holding low on the stochastics, sideways on the RSI, holding low. Down on the histogram, down on the MACD, identical to the Dow. A little bit of a warning area here that the move may be a little overdone. Completely understandable. And the VIX. Here's one of the reasons why I think that the move probably is not finished, which is fine with me. Closed above the magic $20 area of the VIX. Excellent. It is bullish engulfing, and we did have this bottoming area that was quite strong. We pointed that out. 14-day RSI moving average is still pointing down, but it's already pretty darn low. It's going to be ready to flip around, and we have the stochastics turning around, CCI up, RSI up, histogram up, and the MACD barely a tick down. So even with this move, just not quite enough to fix the MACD, but great move. And it did give us an uptick. The uptick was not resolved today, and it's right at 20.5 to resolve that uptick. 4 days to complete. And moving on, TNA. We played this one to the downside, made some good money off of it. Of course, we had the hanging man yesterday. We noted that in last night's video that it closed inside of the long-term moving average bar. Not a great thing to do. And it's just like the Dow, down on everything except the 14-day RSI moving average. And it did get a slight tick up on the RSI, which is pretty curious. Beyond that, what's different is we are below the major price consensus level, and we closed right below the middle Bollinger Band. So two things that are different, and both of them are not positive. $60-minute time frame, since we have a little bit of difference. What else do we have going on here? Well, this is interesting. We have a support line going back 3 hits. It's sitting right on top of it. It is pierced, but we have not closed below it. If we do, should be going to the $45 area. Very nice. We do have a little bit of warning in the heat map. This was an extended move. Down on 14-day RSI moving average, holding low on stochastics, up on the CCI, up on the RSI, up on the histogram, down on the MACD. So this one is attempting to turn. Now something that's very, very interesting to me, and it's very evident on TNA, a little bit on the Dow and SPX. Matter of fact, I need to go back to those and point them out. We had the possible, actually not possible, we had the inverse head and shoulders, and we have the neckline back here. The neckline was definitely defeated today, meaning that it is invalid. No matter where it was, if it was here and here, or if you cut these out and you were here and here, this sucker is busted. So totally invalidated and very bearish. I guess the only way that you could try to salvage it is if you did something really funky. I did something like this from here, and then you cut through these candles, which you are not supposed to do, and then put it there. In which case you could technically go down to just sub 47 and then bounce. This is horrible. This is, I don't believe in this one bit, but that's like the only possible way to save that inverse head and shoulders. I don't believe in this, but just something to point out. And why not? You should do that for... why is this not doing anything? Because I haven't zoomed out enough. Alright, Dow and SPX. Here's the Dow. I'm just going to take a stab at this. We've been talking about how the shoulder patterns are kind of, weird. So if I were to make it this one, which is a possibility, and actually I think probably the most likely possibility, it was broken today, closed below it, so it should be invalidated. If we were to make something a little different, that wouldn't work. No, you know, that's just about it. That should be busted today. SPX. And take a stab and call it this. Seeing if it was touching up here, that would be busted today. If you looped it down here, then I guess SPX you could say maybe was has not been invalidated yet. But the Dow and TNA, yes. Moving on, UUP. This one's awesome. I'm gonna scroll back in. UUP we call 2240, then 2220. Both were hit just the way they're supposed to be. Once we hit 2240, I said that it'd be going back up to 22.6. That happened today and was exceeded today by 10 cents. Very awesome. If you look at this beyond that, look at what this is. This is a typical guppy move. Break away from the long-term moving average bar, you come back in for a retest, and a bullish move is for it to bounce off. That's exactly what it's doing. Oh, come on, dude. Alright, sorry about that interruption. Political polls, they're just called non-stop. Anyways, so, bullish move, guppy-wise. Beyond that, we have the 14-day RSI moving average is still pointing down. But we have the stochastics on the way up, CCI on the way up, RSI on the way up, histogram on the way up, and the MACD on the way up. So the question becomes, what is it going to do right now? Where is it going to go? And I would not be surprised one bit for the retest of the recent high, which would be all of the indicators getting to their highs. And at that point, it'll be up to the 14-day RSI moving average if it has turned. If it has turned, then it's going to be really nice for the bears. I would kind of just from its positioning, we think that everything would get to its highs, and then it'll depend on whether we have a breakout of a new high or not, and then everything will turn over. If we're not going to get a new high, everything should turn over and race back to the bottom to meet the 14-day wherever it is. And if we do break out to a new high, I would think that the 14-day is going to turn up. So it's all going to depend on that, if we're going to have a failed retest of the high or not. And I mean, it could fail right about here. We just don't have enough information yet. But regardless, I do think that there'll be further strength in the dollar in the short term. FXE, the euro. Yeah, look at that. This is another guppy move. Goes in for a bar retest, gets a little bit of penetration, kisses the major price consensus level, backs away very quickly. Turning on all of the secondary indicators, all turning down. 14-day RSI moving average still pointing up. And this will be just like UUP. Do we break out to a lower low, or does it fail? Potentially a double bottom. That will determine, in my opinion, the what the 14-day is doing at that time, and that is what's going to matter. So, be very interesting next few days, maybe a week. Very cool. CompQ, the Nasdaq. Ooh, worse than the Dow, worse than S&P, but not worse than TNA. This one we've had a problem with all this time because it was not leading, and it should be. It did eventually break out to new highs, which was a good sign, but by that time the Dow and SPX were still way ahead of it, which is not a good sign. Didn't have as many indications last night as we would have hoped for, but we got this great move down, breaking the upper price consensus level, filling in a downtick move completely in one day, getting closer to the major price consensus level. All of the indicators turning, well, no, they're not. Down on the CCI, down on the stochastics, down on the histogram, sideways on the MACD, sideways on the RSI, 14-day RSI moving average still ticking up. So this one is not as bad in the daily as most everything else, which is kind of curious, as it had a more than decent move. 60-minute time frame. Did this one bust out its head and shoulders? You know? Let's see. I'll take this. If the connector was here, yes, it was broken today. If the connector is here, then it wouldn't be. I'll just go the more conservative route and say it's here, in which case its inverse head and shoulders is intact. I know that that breaks this candle, but just trying to be a little more open to other things. Matter of fact, I'll do a few other ones just to see. I'll connect these two. So there's the possibility that this one still exists. If it were to go any other way, it is already broken. I guess we'll see. I'd actually kind of like this top one better, but anyways, we shall see. XOY, oil. Oil is bullish, the market is bullish, and oil was definitely not bullish today. Falling way away from the long-term moving average bar, breaking the major price consensus level. Everything taking down with the exception of the 14-day RSI moving average. This is one ugly looking chart. Even breaking this area here, taking out any possibility of lows here. So very, very damaging. Ugly. And Apple. Yeah, you know, Apple did not have that bad of a day. Matter of fact, I would consider this a good day for Apple. Down 8 points. All that it did was a small downtick target, which was fulfilled intraday. Hasn't got to the long-term moving average bar. The stochastics are not in agreement. They're not both pointing down. The RSI is pointing up. The histogram is pointing sideways. This is not bad at all for a 250-point down day. This is very, very good in my opinion. Which isn't to say it can't go down more, but this is a very strong showing. GE trying to get a better read on the Dow. We weren't overly happy with it last night. It broke its high by a penny. We had more green than the other charts in the daily time frame, and yeah, I think there was something else, but it's not coming to mind. But beyond that, downtick today, downtick resolved intraday. Have yet to get to the long-term moving average bar. Down on all of the indicators with the exception of the RSI going sideways and the 14-day RSI moving average going up. And why not? 60-minute time frame. And this one, as it leads the Dow, the 14-day RSI moving average moving on down, stochastics holding low, RSI going sideways holding low, CCI ticking up. MACD down, MACD histogram still sloping down, although losing some of its momentum. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad in the 60. GLD, this one was annihilated. Last night we were talking about its poor showing, Doji Star getting outside all of the long-term moving average bar and going for a cross of the middle Bollinger Band. All bad things. And today, whew, all bad things. Even kissed the long-term moving average bar. Backed away slightly by the end of the day. We do have a little bit of a tick here for possible bottoming area. And everything is moving down. Looking for a bearish cross. Very well developed. And the 14-day RSI moving average is going sideways. All in all, terrible. And moving on to SLV. Also terrible. Really, really bad. Weren't happy with it last night. It was below the major price consensus level. Sitting on the lower Bollinger Band, we were talking about how it was crimped and ready for a big move. And look at this, just awful. Going in for a test of the low. Oof. Down on everything, getting a bearish cross. 14-day RSI moving average, the only holdout, and it's going sideways. Terrible. What else is there? XLF, the financials. We're talking about banks are needed for the rally. And if everything's falling apart, banks are going to fall apart too. Getting back outside the lower, the bottom of the long-term moving average bar, bearish. And moving down on almost everything. Histogram went sideways. I'm sorry. The MACD went sideways. The RSI is up, and the 14-day RSI moving average is up. This isn't as bad as all the other charts in the daily time frame, but we still have a majority pointing down. If there's further movement down tomorrow, it's going to be really, really bad for the market. What else is there? Am I missing anything? Nothing's coming to mind. Alright, well I guess that's going to be about it for this evening. And as always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only. Thank you.